Good morning, Howling supporters.
You're currently at OB Kaya.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. We are still kind of getting things situated. We actually had a bit of a unusual incident this morning that has put us a couple minutes behind. So I'm going to show you guys what we had to deal with this morning. So as you guys can see, this is a rattlesnake. It's quite a young, small little fella. We had this guy hanging out near one of our enclosures, so we actually had to pause what we were doing to go and capture it. Rattlesnakes are really common out here, so anytime we capture one on property, we will safely remove it and move it to one of our currently unused properties. So thank you so much for Rachel here for capturing this little thing this morning. We're gonna go relocate it. We don't ever kill snakes or anything like that that are on the property. We just don't want them biting our animals or our people. So this little guy will get moved to an adjacent property. I just wanted to show you guys that this morning since it was new and exciting, but otherwise we are getting everybody assembled with our enrichment for our summer coolers event. For those of you that have tuned in before, you will know that this is a watermelon related enrichment event, but this year, as with many of our enrichments, it is a lot more extra than in years past. So here is some footage of the beautiful watermelons that everyone's going to be getting, and I will let our enrichment coordinator Danielle tell you guys all about them.
Hi everybody. This year what we did is went with the refreshing drink. So we have straws and umbrellas and a little extra fruit to add and some mint. So every animal gets a watermelon with a couple different types of fruit, kiwi, pineapple, blueberry, and then some cat food to entice our pickier eaters. Otherwise, all the umbrellas and straws have been painted with water soluble paint, so everything is safe for the animals and they don't really eat the cardboard, so hopefully they'll enjoy these.
Yeah, so just to give you guys a close-up, and for everyone that's just now joining us, these are going to be our watermelons. So most of them have been cut in half or quartered. Obviously watermelon is very high in water, so even if our animals were to eat an entire watermelon, it wouldn't really weigh on their bellies like some other food items would. But not every animal is going to want to eat these. Some will want to scent rub on them, pee on them, completely ignore them, just destroy them. But for the most part, as Danielle was saying, these are super safe for the animals to eat, and even all the straws and umbrellas are just cardboard so that they can tear those up and undo all the hard work Danielle's been putting in over the last couple of days to get these ready for the event. We will be showing you guys all the animals on our tour path as usual, but we do have a couple of guest stars today. So our newest rescue, Artemis, who we just featured and put on our tour path officially for the first time yesterday, will be part of our live stream event. She is a high content wolf dog puppy, so you guys will get to see her. She's about 3 months old now. This will be her first big enrichment event. And then we will be bringing Octavia, another one of our young high content females who lives off the tour path. We'll be bringing her down to also be a part of the live stream event. She had a few people that donated for this event for her specifically. She is walkable, so she's one that's pretty easy to bring down, so you guys can get a little bit of variety to who you're seeing on the live stream. But then following that, we will also be taking photos and videos of other animals that are not on the tour path, since we don't have Wi-Fi to do the live stream on the whole compound. That way anyone who donated for enrichment will be able to see their animals enjoying it, and anyone who didn't donate, you'll get to see that as well. So just stay tuned in the coming days for additional content on Facebook, Instagram, and potentially on our YouTube channel as well. All right, well, I think we are ready to get rolling. So thank you so much for everyone who is already joining us and watching, sending hearts and comments. We will absolutely make sure to respond to all of the comments that we receive either in the video or afterwards. Sometimes they come in so quickly that I can't keep up with all of them while I'm also trying to talk and film, but we will get to them as soon as we can. So we're going to be starting with our New Guinea singing dogs. So Danielle's gonna grab their enrichment and we'll take their treats to them. Bowie. This one is for Mr. Bowie. So for anyone who's been following poor Bowie's story in 2021, he has had a lot of medical things crop up for him. So you guys will see that he is actually once again indoor restricted because he recently had a abscess removed from his cheek. So he's got a drain in. You'll see that it's shaved. We took his cone off temporarily so that he can enjoy his watermelon unencumbered. But you will notice he's got some like bald spots in that little drain. You can see he's got a little bald patch from where they had to take blood and give him a catheter. But he is doing spectacularly well after having the abscess removed. So just a couple more days before his stitches can come out, and then he can go back outside and be with Reba. What is that? Hi. So Bowie here is one of our 2 New Guinea singing dogs. These are a wild species of dog found in Papua New Guinea, and until very recently, they were actually assumed to be completely extinct in the wild, even though zoos and sanctuaries and a lot of private owners do have these still living with them. So they're not completely extinct, but they hadn't seen them out in the wild for many, many, many years. So they classified them as extinct in the wild until just a few years ago, people actually spotted what they thought were New Guinea singing dogs. They raised money to do DNA testing on them, and they did confirm that there are still wild New Guinea singing dogs in Papua New Guinea, which was a really, really awesome discovery. So, like I said, Bowie and Reba are the last 2 remaining that Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary has, but in the past we've had 7 total of these animals, and we are so blessed to be able to care for them and teach people about them because they are super unique. Not only are they one of the most ancient breeds of wild canines in the world, they also have some of the widest range of vocalizations. These animals are semi-arboreal, meaning that they can climb, they can twist their joints, both on their front and back legs and their heads in unusual ways to allow them to climb. And even though they are super, super tiny, these guys out in the wild are one of the apex predators for their region. And so they can hunt things much bigger than they are. And they're just a really awesome species. So we're super happy to get to care for them and hope that we can continue to do so in the future if there's ever a need. Oh, yeah, what you doing? The nice part about Mr. Bowie being inside right now is that he doesn't have to fight with Reba over who gets the watermelon. Even though they'll both get their own watermelon, they're still going to want to naturally have what the other has. Kind of like children, right? They always want the toy that the other kids have. Is that yummy? Yeah, that's good.
As predicted, he's picked out all of the cat food first.
Yes, and poor Bowie, for those of you guys that don't know, he, in addition to recently having this abscess removed, he also had a bloat surgery this year. So he is in full recovery from that now, but it's been quite a season for this little trooper. He is 11 years old, which is normally about middle aged for a New Guinea singing dog in captivity. These guys, being a small breed, can actually live into their late teens or 20s, but he has been giving us a lot of scares, in the last few months, but you guys can tell he's got really good energy. He's really happy and healthy, minus a few of these little road bumps, but yeah, you're spoiled. All right, buddy. I guess we'll go give Reba hers, let you enjoy this all by yourself. Okay, bye. All right, so on to Miss Reba. Reba is the same age as Bowie is, and these guys came from the same rescue operation. This took place about 11, 12 years ago now. We rescued a total of 5 New Guinea singing dogs from this specific rescue operation, and they have been with us for over a decade. And so since Bowie and Reba are about 11, 12 years old, that means that they have been with us since they were 1-year-old puppies. They are very accustomed to life at the sanctuary. As you can tell, these guys are both very social, confident animals. Reba here is definitely one of our most confident and assertive singers in the history of having these animals. She has nothing but spunk all the time, which makes it nice that Bowie didn't have to try to share high value resources with her. What is that? What is it?
Look at her tail.
Yeah, her little tail was
Very happy girl.
Yeah, get it.
Get out of the way.
Good girl. So like Danielle was just saying about Bowie, a lot of these guys that are a little bit more picky about food will kind of not know what to do with unusual food related items like this. So Danielle had put a dollop of cat food into these so that the animals that are more familiar with like meat based food items and enrichment items will go, okay, that's familiar, maybe this is worth checking out. Reba's like, I don't know, I think I'd rather just have pets. Yeah, good girl. What is it? Wow. That's nummies. Good girl. And of course, for some of our animals, we will leave them with their watermelon so that they have as much time as they want to enjoy them. And of course, for our smaller animals, this is a pretty big treat to give them. So we'll leave it with them for a little bit, and then we will probably come back and take it out so that it's not collecting flies or getting icky in the sun. But we want to give everyone enough time to enjoy their treats, and sometimes they're more comfortable doing that when humans are not hovering nearby with cameras and whatnot. So we'll leave Miss Reba to it for now, and we're gonna move on to our Nolas, Juno, and Azteca. Bye, sweetie. Enjoy. All right. So. Okay, so we are headed over to Juno and Azteca. These guys are two of our domestic dog rescues who actually came to us when they were about 2.5 years old after being mislabeled as wolf dogs and put into a shelter. Like Reba and Bowie, these guys have been with us for most of their lives. They are old ladies now, but they absolutely still love to receive their enrichment. Usually better if we go in with just a couple of people versus a whole group. They can be a little bit shy, but hopefully they will come up for you guys to say hello to them today. I can unlock that for you. Oh, hi, Tiki. So Tiki's waiting here for us very patiently. Hi, sweetheart. What do we have? Okay, we're coming. All right. So right here we've got Juno. Juno and Tiki, as I mentioned, are siblings. They are both domestic dogs, and they are about 14 years old. They spent the first 2.5 years of their life living in a shelter. Again, this was after somebody who owned them labeled them as wolf dogs, and the shelter did not feel comfortable adopting them out or handling them. So after about 2.5 years of living in the shelter, we finally took them. At the time, it was a litter of 5 animals. We gave them all permanent lifelong care here because by the time that they were 2.5 years old, they were not really properly socialized, house trained, or anything like that, and they were very, very bonded. So the thought of trying to adopt them out and separating them did not seem like that was what was going to be best for their long-term quality of life. So we did decide to keep them all. These are the last 2 remaining of their litter. And Azteca here, the one who is on my left and more brown in color, she is a lot more outgoing and sociable than Juno. Juno's a little bit more shy and reserved, but with time, these guys do come to trust the keepers and do come to say hello to them. But being older ladies, the level of interaction that we have is pretty limited to just like nice, gentle pets and maintenance care. They don't really want to like play or go for walks anymore. Azteca used to go for lots of walks, but as they've gotten older and a little bit arthritic and sore, they tend to want to spend most of their time napping. Juno over here in particular absolutely loves toys. One of her favorite things to do is actually carry stuffed toys or Kongs or balls or rope toys around the enclosure for a while and then bury them and hope that we can't find them. So it's always a really fun game. When we're looking for Juno's toys, we'll usually think that there's probably 1 or 2 in here, and then we'll end up finding like 5 to 7 because she's so good at hiding them. Hi, ladies. So they're definitely checking out the watermelon more than the singers, taking some bites. Looks like Juno tried to eat one of her straws and realized it was cardboard. So spit that out and has now traded out for some actual food substance. As a fun fact, we actually recently did an Embark DNA test for Azteca here. Now, when we talk about the story of the Nolas, we talk about how they came here at 2.5 years old. So they looked a lot different back then than they do now. They've obviously softened up a lot and have phased out in color and things like that. But the story has always been that when they came here, they were phenotyped as domestic dogs rather than wolf dogs, even though they had always had the wolf dog label. Of course, there is no 100% certainty with phenotyping. It is not an exact science, and neither is DNA testing at this point, really. However, there are some tests on the market that are considered to be the most accurate and do have the largest sampling sizes for what they're using to pull their genetic coding and basically make these assessments. So we had someone donate an Embark DNA test to us so that we could actually DNA test these guys to determine whether they are actually wolf dogs, actually domestic dogs, and that will also tell us their health testing results as well. So even though these guys are already old and we know that they have some health issues, this type of DNA test will tell us whether they are carriers for any diseases, whether there's things that we should be looking out for the rest of their lives. And so it's a really neat thing that we're going to get to learn about them and actually have some factual information. So the last update that we got was that the test was being processed, so it'll take another couple of weeks before we get the actual results. And because Juno and Azteca are sisters, we should be able to use Azteca's results to have a pretty decent idea of Juno's content, her breed makeup, and health issues as well. But our ultimate goal would be to DNA test every single one of our rescues at some point in time. This helps us to not only do health testing like we talked about, but we can also run relatedness and see if any of our rescues are related here at the sanctuary or related to other animals out and about in the world. So it's a pretty cool campaign that we're going to be launching in the coming weeks or months, and ideally we would like to have all of our rescues DNA tested in the next couple of years. So we will keep you guys updated on those results when they come in, and stay tuned. All right, we will leave the Nolas to it, and we're gonna go on to our next guest on the live stream event. Bye, baby girl.
Danielle, you guys ready for this?
We're ready for it.
So sorry that you guys have to look at all of my my fencing and my keys and my padlocks, all that good stuff. So we've got our special guest coming to join us. So if you guys can see off in the distance, she's being a little problematic walking for us today. But real quick, while we're waiting, a big thank you to Catherine Lawrence, who donated for Bowie's Enrichment, and Joyce and Bruce Stakely, who donated for any rescue but went to Reba. And then Octavia is who we are bringing to join us right now, and her former owner Donna donated for her, and also Kimberly Alderete. I am so sorry guys if I am butchering names. I'm doing my best, and I've got my whole list here of everyone who has donated for all of our rescues today. It looks like we also had Natasha Franca and Brian Mercer donate to Juno, and let's see, Robert Hurt donated to any rescue, so his went to Azteca. All right, here comes our girl. Hi, love. So this is Octavia. She is a 1-year-old high content female. She is super, super social, which is why we were actually able to walk her down on leash to bring her onto the tour path so that you guys could see her. Like we said before, we are very limited for our live stream events with who we can feature because of our Wi-Fi capacity, which does not extend to our whole compound. So it's not very often that you guys get to see new faces, but today we decided we were gonna walk Octavia down and set her up in the NOLA sub-enclosure to get her enrichment. And of course she wants to say hi to people and animals more than she wants to have her watermelon, but that's okay. Hi, sweetie. Hi, beauty girl. Hi. Hi. This is not a great angle, huh? Go see other people. So Octavia here, being a puppy, you can tell that she was extremely well socialized and is very, very comfortable with people, comfortable with crowds, but she is a 1.5-year-old now, so she is still a, well, yeah, 1.5 about. She is still a baby as far as wolves and wolf dogs are concerned. They don't reach full proper adult maturity until between the ages of 2 and 4. So she still has a lot of puppy energy and puppy behaviors. So it's very common for her to want to jump on us, mouth on us, all in all push our boundaries and just kind of be naughty. But she is a good, sweet girl. She's just a baby and she's got some manners to be learned. So we're working on that all the time. Come enjoy your watermelon. You can if she will let you.
I just didn't want to do it while she was eating.
Yeah. You take that off.
Face.
Good girl. I don't think that you understand that this is food, huh? There you go. People donated so you could have that. Do you want to say thank you by enjoying it? Very good. What is that? Good girl. So as you can see, she just wants to say hi to all her human friends and explore, which is perfectly okay. That's also a type of enrichment, so we can't complain. But we are very glad that you guys are getting to see a couple of new faces on the live stream today. For those that maybe are just tuning in, we have Octavia today and we have our new rescue Artemis, who will also be getting an enrichment watermelon. And Artemis is our youngest rescue. She is just a couple of months old, so this will be her first enrichment live stream event as well. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, hi. Go hi. You beauty girl. Yeah, hi. Oh. Hi. I want the people to see you. What's that? Hello.
Look this way. Octavia.
Octavia. So she's saying hi to little Reba. If there's any small animal here that could make a big animal like Octavia feel smaller than she is, it is Reba. I don't know if you guys could see the posturing, but Reba was standing up very tall with her tail up, and Octavia had to make herself real small in deference. Reba is sort of the queen of the sanctuary, at least in her mind she is. Okay, T. Don't need the camera.
Can't eat my camera, Gord.
Yeah, you're a good girl.
You're dry. What's up with that? Your face isn't soaking wet.
Good girl. All right, T, we're gonna move on to the dingoes.
Come here.
All right, now I've got to try to escape without her following me. Good girl.
Yeah, just get distracted. Just get distracted over here.
All right. So we will leave Octavia to her watermelon, and thank you again so much for the people that have donated to our enrichment live stream event. Not just for Octavia and the others that you've seen so far, but we have lots of animals that are not on the tour path who will also be getting their watermelons later today. And like I said, we will post photos and videos of them so that you guys can see them enjoying their watermelons as well. All right. Next, we've got our dingo brothers, Glacier, Uluru, and Aussie. So we've got 3 watermelons to grab up here. We'll go put those in their enclosure and then give them some time to enjoy them. These guys are also a little bit shy about a crowd, so enrichment live stream events often involve Glacier, who is the most brave and bold, going up and sampling everybody's enrichment because his brothers are too shy to do that themselves. So he definitely benefits off of his opportunistic personality. All right. We are good. So I will let my lovely assistants go in and kind of figure out where they're gonna put the watermelons, and then we'll see when the dingoes want to go check them out. So you can see Glacier right there. He is already waiting for his opportunity to go check these out. And kind of like the New Guinea singing dogs, dingoes are also animals who are able to do a bit more climbing than your average canine. And so we oftentimes will put their enrichment up on rocks or logs to kind of encourage them to utilize those naturalistic behaviors. And these guys are about 10, 11 years old, so they are middle-aged to seniors for dingoes, so they don't do as much climbing, and we definitely don't want to encourage them to do climbing that could be dangerous to them at this age and ability level, but they do absolutely love to get up onto higher surfaces, so we will frequently see them sleeping up on their cave house or sleeping on top of logs and things like that. Glacier has no problem climbing up to get food items, whereas his brothers might be a little bit more hesitant to do so just because they're a little bit less confident than he is. So right now we've got Glacier, who is the blonde or white colored dingo, and then Uluru is the red colored dingo next to him. Aussie is probably hiding inside of his cave house just because he is not going to be as comfortable around the group of people that we have here doing filming and photos, but he does have his own little watermelon right outside the cave house, so he can come out and get it anytime he wants to. These guys all came to us along with their mother when the pups were just little. These guys were originally part of a breeding program for pure Australian dingoes that was taking place here in the United States. Unfortunately, there was an issue with their former housing arrangement, which resulted in us taking 3 of the 5 pups that were born and the mother, and then the other pups went to a different facility. But because we took ours with their mother, we obviously were not going to be continuing to participate in the breeding program. So they were all spayed and neutered and have been here ever since. Their mom, Kuyong, passed away a few years ago, but the brothers are still doing very well together. They're super, super bonded. And they will be here with us for the rest of their lives, and it's uncertain whether we'll ever get the chance to have dingoes again, since they are not a super common animal here in the US, especially in the pet trade, which is where a lot of our animals do come from. However, we did get a couple of intake requests last year for dingoes. They ended up going to other facilities, but all that to say, it is not impossible for us to get dingoes moving forward into the future, so we'll see what happens. So Aussie has not made an appearance yet. He probably won't until we all sort of move on to our next enclosures. But as promised, Glacier is checking out every single watermelon that he can find. So far, it seems like everyone is really loving the little dollop of cat food that they're getting with their watermelons, but they're not quite certain about the rest of the treats. So, and that's the really fun part about enrichment, right? Is that it is not always supposed to be something that the animals absolutely love to pieces. It's supposed to be something that is new and different and that encourages the animals to utilize their natural behaviors. So to move their body or use their instincts or challenge their brains through problem solving. So even if these guys all hate watermelons, we still had them experience something new and different today. And that is what enrichment is all about. All right, we'll leave them to it and move on to our next enclosure. Alrighty. So I think the next ones are for our foxes, River and Rumi. These guys are the ultimate shy animals here at the sanctuary, and despite the fact that they are on our public tour path, they are often the most missed animal because they tend to hide out during the day when people are here, but they are also more of a early morning and evening active species. So even we as their keepers on days that we're not open to the public don't usually see them unless it is early morning or end of day, and that's when they're the most active. So we'll see if they want to come out for their watermelons, if we can even get into their enclosure. Thank you. All right. So usually our little foxes are hiding in this greenhouse, or as you guys saw, in the back half of this enclosure. So they do have an indoor-outdoor section, in addition to multiple shelters and many, many, many playthings within the outdoor section of their enclosure. But you will notice this is the only enclosure on our entire property that is roofed and also has dig guard and concrete buried under the ground. And that's because not only are foxes incredible diggers, they are also incredible climbers. And so the risk of escape in this enclosure would be significant if we were not modifying it to suit their species. So you guys can see all these little tunnels, dens, cache holes. They will absolutely hide food, toys, everything. So it's a pretty normal occurrence for us to come in and fill these holes in, mostly so people don't step on them and cause a collapse. But they're not going to dig out of this enclosure, which is great, but we don't want to have them get hurt or have us get hurt either. So we're just waiting really quietly to see if they will come out. Come on, babies. So I'm going to actually move away from here and see if that will make them feel a little bit more brave. Here, let's take us to the outside of the fence and maybe they'll come out for us. So something to note right now is that here at Wild Spirit, our motto is the animals come first. And so in situations like this, we are never going to force our rescues to do something that they are not comfortable doing, even if that means that we don't get to, get them on the live stream or get photos. This is a sanctuary where animals come oftentimes from previously unideal situations. And so we want to make sure that they are feeling safe and comfortable with us and that they never feel like they are being forced to do things they don't want to do, or that they're feeling threatened or uncomfortable. So I don't know if you guys can see, there's a lot of fencing to work through, but one of them did just pop out. Try to get closer here. And the lighting's not great, but if you look under the house, you can maybe see one of the foxes just came out. This is probably River. She is the more brave of the two. She just ran all the way back to the indoor holding. But anyways, these guys will come out and enjoy their watermelons whenever they want to. So even if that's not while it's on camera, we're basically allowing them the chance to make their own decisions about how they want to spend their day. And so we'll leave that watermelon in there with them, and hopefully they will come out and enjoy it whenever they are ready. All right, but a big thank you to Doug Walker and Therese Mika. You guys had both donated for one of our New Guinea singing dogs who has since passed away. So we used your donations to go towards our fox kits.
She just laughed. Did you hear that?
All right, so next up we are doing Kiska and ZB. No, Kobu Kiara. Okay. All right. Got everyone's hopes up. I got someone on here who is very excited to see Kiska and ZB. All right.
Don't look this way, there's spoilers.
I know, I'm not gonna pan to the right where our new precious little lady is at.
Yeah,
You guys
spoilers.
have to wait for her.
So, what we'll do for this is put hers in, have her shift in, and like go to it, and then we'll sneak by to get Kovu's in and bring it to him.
Okay.
Which would you prefer to do? I can do Kovu. I don't have a problem with him.
All right. So we're just getting set up here. I'm gonna stay on the outside just so there's not so many people. But you can see little Miss Kiara is getting so excited for her watermelon. Hello. So we will give hers to her in here in the shift pen. That way she doesn't have to fight for a high value resource with her companion. And then he'll get his own watermelon as well. Come on, sweetie. Good girl. All right, so I'm gonna come over closer so you guys can see her. Hi. I know, I'm not gonna take it. I know. Hey cat. Good girl. So I don't know if you guys could hear that, but when I first started to approach her, she was doing a couple of little growls. She is not an animal who has like resource guarding behaviors, but of course we have started to observe that during our live stream events, she tends to get a little bit more vocal, probably because she's getting items that are new and exciting. She's never had them before. She doesn't know how much she likes them, so her automatic default is going to be to guard it so that she has time to explore that item. Now, of course, we're never going to go up and just take away an item we just gave to her, but she doesn't know that. She's still learning how this whole thing goes. So, hi, good girl. All right, so let's see if we can catch Mr. Kovu getting his. So you guys can see he is not nearly as confident as Kiara about this new item, and part of that is just personality, but also Kiara is a mid-content wolf dog, so she's just over 50%, and Kovu here is a high content. So behaviorally and biologically speaking, there are some key differences between different levels of content for wolves and wolf dogs, and generally speaking, this is not a rule, but generally speaking, high content animals are going to have a higher fear response or a higher fight or flight response. And with that comes a higher degree of neophobia, meaning a fear of new or different things. So Kovu here is looking at this watermelon not necessarily as a treat automatically, but as something that could potentially be dangerous, harmful, or scary. So what he's trying to do is determine how safe that is for him to grab. So you can see he's getting low to the ground. He's just like trying to stay as far away from it with his body as he can while he sniffs it. And usually what happens when they get brave enough is exactly that. They try to grab and run. You see that? So that's a behavior where if he was trying to grab, let's say, a prey animal in the wild, he would grab it and run away from it to make sure that he's not going to get hurt, ideally. You got it. And you can see how even though he has tested this multiple times and he knows it's not going to hurt him, he still does not feel confident in that. So he just grabbed one of the little cardboard umbrellas and ran away with it. He's going to rip it up. And then he'll probably feel a little bit more brave and come back and get the big watermelon. So yep, you can see him. He's like, I got this now. I know how to hunt watermelon. I'm on it. I'm going to get it. So here he comes. Well, he lost some of that gumption and bravado. You got it, buddy. You can do it. You got it. You can get it. I'd say it's going pretty well for his first watermelon hunt. He's like, I don't know about that. I'm gonna see if I can move a little closer, get you guys a little bit of a better angle here. All right, you gonna get it? You can do it. You can get it. You can get it. There you go. Very brave. You got it, buddy. So for anyone that knows this animal on a personal level, so people that work here, have worked here, his previous owners and caretakers, this is super funny to watch because Kovu is like one of our quote unquote big bad wolves. You know, he's that stereotypical like scary looking animal that people find to be very intimidating, and if you saw him in the wild you would be, you know, a little bit nervous, and then you try to watch him hunt a watermelon, and it's a very humbling reminder that these animals, especially in the wild, are almost always more afraid of us and their surroundings than we are of them. So this guy this guy is doing an excellent job of showing just how much that neophobia influences their daily lives, and that can be one of the struggles of people who own them or work with them, because let's say you have to have a vet visit or go into a vehicle to be transported somewhere. Like, that is not a normal thing that an animal would experience on a daily basis, so it can be really scary and really stressful. So when we go to our next enclosure, we're going to talk a little bit about the stuff that we can do, or that owners and other caretakers often will do, to try to help manage things like neophobia in these types of animals. So we'll leave Kovu to his hunting and leave Kiara to enjoy her snack. He just got a bit of a peach. That wasn't so scary, but I don't know if he likes it very much. And we will go next door to meet Artemis, our high content wolf dog puppy, who just had her first day out on the tour path yesterday. She is actually doing very well being outside. She got to meet her first tour guests yesterday. Well, they got to see her yesterday, and we didn't know if she was going to be nervous around groups because she's only seen us so far, but she was not nervous. She was actually very excited, which is ideal because she's going to be living here for the rest of her life and will be seeing tour guests for the rest of her life. So we want her to be comfortable with that. So here she is, the baby. And we have from Karen Belluomini, who donated for Artemis's watermelon. Hi, baby. Oh, come here.
Artemis, come here, honey. What's this?
Okay, wow.
Very great. What is that?
So Artemis here is about a 3-month-old high content female wolf dog. We had her donated to us from a breeder in Texas. It's not very often that puppies come into the rescue world at such a young age. We actually got Artemis when she was about 4 weeks old. So she's been with us for the last 2 months, and like I just talked about with Kovu, when you have a high content, you have a lot of socialization aspects that you need to be prepared to deal with that are not necessarily the same as when you get a regular domestic dog or a dog puppy. One of those things is neophobia, like we talked about. And so for Artemis here, we have been working with her on desensitization to things like vehicles, leashes, crates. She's heard different like noises from like brooms or vacuums, or us changing out water buckets and splash tubs. And so we've basically been getting her desensitized to various aspects of life that will become pretty routine for her. She has also had to have medications applied to her skin, or she's got to have eye drops because we have some pretty bad seasonal allergies out here. So she's been getting slowly acclimated to all of those aspects of life, and this will ultimately help us to manage her care better when she's a full-grown adult, because as you can imagine, at this size it's not too difficult to put medicine on an animal, but when they are a full-grown animal who maybe doesn't want you to do that, you're not going to want to force them and it's not going to be safe to do so. So when we can work on these guys to not only desensitize and make them comfortable, but to condition behaviors and reward them and make them positive experiences for the animals, it helps us to improve their quality of life, not just now, but forever. So because Artemis is now very comfortable going into a crate or walking on a leash, in the future when she is older and maybe has to go to the vet or deal with sort of unexpected care issues arising, she should be a lot more comfortable doing those and not resistant to it. So we're very excited to have her here and for the opportunity to get to raise her and set her up for a really solid rest of her life with us. Right now she is living singly because of course she's a little thing and we don't want to just throw her into an enclosure with a full-grown animal. But we do have a couple of single males right now that we are planning on introducing her to later on down the road. Of course, we just started letting her meet animals nose to nose through the fence while out on walks, and she got to meet one of her potential future betrothed yesterday, and it was really precious. So far, most of the animals have adored getting to meet her, which is pretty common in the wolf and wolf dog world. Out in the wild, especially, the entire pack helps to raise the pups, so there is an almost instinctive nurturing side of adult wolves and wolf dogs when it comes to babies. Now, if she was a 1-year-old, I think animals would feel a lot differently about her, but it's almost like they can't help it. And this is not necessarily true for every adult wolf or wolf dog, but for the most part, people find that when introduced to a puppy, their instinct is to love it and nurture it and care for it and make themselves really small so that they can seem non-threatening and things like that. And that's what we've been seeing for the most part with Artemis getting to meet animals. Nikki asked, do we spay and neuter all of our animals? Yes, we do. The only times that we do not spay or neuter is when it would be unsafe to do so from a medical standpoint. So for example, we have some animals that are really old, so putting them through surgery would not be safe. Or we have had animals who maybe had like blood clotting issues, so putting them through a surgery would not be safe either. But otherwise, yes, we do spay and neuter every animal. If we can't spay or neuter, we will not put them with an animal who's also intact. And then we have some exceptions for our coyotes, because spaying and neutering coyotes is not ideal for their captive living, but we will always alter one or the other, so we still can't have any reproduction happening. But yeah, we do. We don't breed here. Artemis didn't come from being born on site or anything like that. She was donated from her breeder. All right, next we've got Draco and Leia. So I'm gonna show you guys Draco here because he usually runs away really quickly and hunts his watermelon just like Kovu. Draco is a very practiced and experienced enrichment hunter, so hi, sweetheart. So he will snatch and grab and run really fast. You guys might not get to see him up close for very long, so this is a great opportunity for that. And then Leia, we will absolutely get to watch, enjoy her watermelon, because she likes to do that front and center for everyone to see and get great photos of. And a huge thank you to Kevin Oles and Lisa Cat for donating enrichment to Draco and Leia, respectively. All right, so Draco is ready and waiting.
I'll go first for Draco. Alright, so ours can go here.
Alrighty, I'm gonna try to raise you guys up here so you can watch Draco because he is so fast. And he got it. Leia tried to steal it from him. Come here, Leia. All right.
You have your own watermelon.
What's this? Little lady. All right.
You don't even get a chance with Draco.
So Draco, who you guys just saw very briefly, is a high content wolf dog who came to us from Colorado. He was a very well loved and cared for privately owned pet, but because he was howling all of the time, his owner's neighbors really did not like dealing with him as a quote-unquote nuisance, and so unfortunately the owners were essentially forced to rehome him, and he has been with us now for a couple of years. I want to say he's been with us for like 4 years. That seems like a long time, but I think that's accurate. And Leia here has actually been with Wild Spirit since she was a puppy. We also have her brother and sister on site, as well as their father and another relative. They all came to us after they were rescued from a hoarding situation in California. And hi, baby girl. And so because these guys have been here since they were babies, they are super well socialized. They love people. They are also low content wolf dogs, so much more dog than wolf. And Leia is extremely socialized and comfortable with us in these enrichment events. She normally doesn't run off with her treats. She'll kind of just stay and let us film and photograph, but today she was feeling like she wanted to relocate, have a change of scenery. She is actually eating her watermelon, so as you guys have seen, a lot of the animals have kind of just picked at the cat food on top, but she is like full on chowing down on that thing. And watermelons are a safe thing to give canines. They have a lot of like hydrating materials in them. They are low in calories and in density, so she could eat that whole thing if she wanted to, and it's not going to weigh her down, or it won't be the same as like eating a giant meal. Sometimes these guys will eat the whole thing, rind and all. Other times they don't really care for it at all, but she is absolutely enjoying it. I believe these are also seedless watermelons, which makes it, not that the seeds are going to be toxic or fatal or anything like that, but there is question about the impacts of eating fruit seeds for canines, and so we don't have to worry about that with these watermelons. And Draco did come up to try to see if there's any remaining morsels. So I don't know what he did with his watermelon to begin with, but he is definitely scrounging to see what else he can pick up and grab. Good boy, buddy. Yeah, you enjoy that, huh? All right, Leo, we'll leave you to it. We're gonna go see your neighbors. All right, so next we've got Sarkin and Katniss, and Mr. Sarkin actually gets put into a shift pen just like we did with Kiara and Kobu, so that Katniss doesn't have to compete with him for resources. So we'll be shifting him over. All right. Hi, baby. You're cute. Yeah, you're good. Yeah. All right. Alrighty, so we are gonna get Sarkin set up in his shift pen here.
Where's a good spot?
That's fine. He'll probably move it. So you can see Sarkin is pacing excitedly, and now he knows he's gonna be led into this gate, so he's waiting. This is kind of a daily routine for Sarkin with his regular feeding. And again, that is so that his companion Katniss doesn't have to compete with him for food. Sarkin and Katniss actually both came to Wild Spirit together. They were both privately owned by the same person, and Katniss essentially sort of raised Sarkin from puppyhood. So he is extremely respectful of Katniss, and it's not that they would fight for food or anything like that, but she's definitely not as assertive as he is. So what's most likely is that she would allow him to steal her watermelon. So to give her a fair chance, we shipped him, and she gets to have hers in the big enclosure. Good babies. So I'm going to kind of stay here with Sarkin, and you guys might be able to see Katniss in the background, but if I go into the enclosure with her, she's not likely to come up to get the watermelon, so we'll try to just give her that space while we watch Mr. Man here enjoy his treat. And I don't know if you guys can hear him, but he is just like chowing down. He's eating the rind and everything. He's having the time of his life. Sarkin. So Sarkin here is another one of our high content animals. He is 3 years old, and Katniss, his companion, is an upper mid content animal, and she is just turned 8 years old. As a fun fact, Katniss is actually the mother of one of our other rescues, Mika. They didn't come from the same place or anything like that, but that's just a very interesting little tidbit of information. And again, another one of those really cool things that we will be able to find out more about when we have Embark DNA tested all of our rescues in the future. We might have even more animals that are related that we don't even know about. So it would be really cool for us to find that out and to maybe compare like relatedness with other sanctuaries, zoos, even other private owners that might think that they have relatives to some of our rescues. You are so funny. So I don't think Katniss has found her watermelon yet. She's a little bit more preoccupied with what this whole crowd of people here is doing, but she'll find it eventually. You are so silly. So Sarkin, even though he is a high content, he's one of our smaller animals, and especially for a male, he is quite small, but he makes up for it with his very big personality and his very big attitude. You guys can see him here. He's wagging his tail, but he's also growling and grumbling because we're near his resource. But that's kind of his MO. He's just a grumbly boy all the time. Even when he's asking us to pet him, he's still going to be grumbling at us over it. So he's definitely a character. Katniss is like his polar opposite. She's very sweet and shy. I swear to God, Katniss really wants to start meeting people and trusting people and letting people, you know, kind of win her over. But Sarkin is such an obstacle sometimes with that. Like, he doesn't want to let her come up to the fence to say hello or get pets. So, you know, it'll take some slow and steady patience, but I'm sure that she will be able to form relationships with people in time. And Sarkin as well. He's going to be with us for his entire life, so we've got a lot of time to work with him and all of his beautiful personality traits. And I say that with the absolute most love of all time. I like the grumpy boys. They're some of my favorites. All right, buddy, we're gonna go see Naya and Erwin next. Yeah, silly. So Katniss is still back there. She has not found her watermelon yet. It's just under that little, well, not little, that very big tree in the middle of the enclosure. All right. Okay. So Erwin, we also put into a shift pen so that Naya doesn't have to compete with him. So are you gonna throw it through here? Okay. Are you ready? You excited? Hi. We can wait on them. Oh. All right, so Erwin's watermelon got a little bit toppled over, but this is just extra enrichment now, because he's got to problem solve how to get it. All right, so he's gonna let himself in there, and I'm gonna close him in. So sorry, you guys have to look at the fence for a minute. Ugh. We want to make sure Erwin is nice and secure before we give Naya hers, so he doesn't come out and steal it. All right, so here is Erwin. You can see his flipped over, so he's got to figure out how to get to it, which is added enrichment. Yeah, you get it, buddy. Get it.
You figure it out.
Oh, there you go. So he still hasn't figured out how to get to the other side, but he obviously knows this is a high value resource. He's not going to let that stop him. He's just going to eat through the top of it instead of flipping it over. And look at how they use those massive feet and big claws to help them rip into food. They would do the same thing if they were eating off of a carcass, eating on a bone. It is incredibly impressive how much they use their feet when eating. And a watermelon is nothing like a wild ungulate carcass, but you would have... Sorry, I hit a button. You have to think about the fact that they would still be having to rip through muscle and sinew and fur and bone, and their teeth and jaws are really incredible, but they need something to help give them leverage. So you can see him, you know, instinctively using his feet to help him problem solve on getting through that watermelon rind. All right, buddy, we'll leave you to it. We'll give Naya hers. You're doing great. Alrighty. So Miss Naya here is going to get hers all to herself. Come on, baby girl. Naya is another one of our young high content rescues. She is the same age as Sarkin, so 3 years old, and Erwin is the same age as Katniss, so 8. These guys are some of our favorite neighbors. Naya absolutely loves Katniss, so much so, in fact, that you guys might notice if she comes up close that she has been letting Katniss over-groom her through the fencing, and that has resulted in Naya's cheek ruffs being nibbled off. So you will not see those nice big fluffy cheeks like you saw on Irwin or Sarkin, because Katniss has basically nibbled them off of her face. So she's looking a little bit goofy, but she's not bothered by it. She absolutely adores Katniss, like, more than anything. So see, she's also trying to do that snatch and grab. She found the umbrella. She's gonna go test that out and make sure it's safe, just like Kovu did. So like I was saying before when we were watching Kovu, we often talk about things that are very common for wolves and wolf dogs, especially high content. And like I said, these things are not rules, but they do happen often enough that most people who work with these animals or own them are going to often talk about these things as common things to be aware of, to deal with, to try to problem solve around, because they're just very common patterns of behavior that result from the biology of these animals. Now, of course, nature and nurture both play a role. That's something that we talk about a lot here, because there's a lot of misinformation about how content influences behavior that's talked about as though it's a law, and it's not. Some of our animals, like Irwin, who are extremely socialized, even though he's a high content, he does not express the same level of neophobia as other animals like him. Now, Naya here was also hand-raised from puppyhood and extremely well socialized, but she is a lot more neophobic. So again, there is a lot that plays a part in how these animals present their behaviors to us, and the level of content does not necessarily mean that they're going to act more or less one way, but it is something that is frequent enough that we talk about it sort of as an umbrella for different levels of content. You gonna get it? She's still checking out the umbrella. All right, I will leave Naya here so maybe Tim can get some photos of her. Less people is less intimidating. Irwin's probably already finished with his. All right, now we've got Kiska and Zeeby. So lots and lots of people have been waiting for these guys. So we're gonna have to basically distract Kiska and Zeeby so we can put their watermelons inside and let them come to get them safely. Kiska has some major resource guarding behaviors with any sort of novelty item. So whether that's food or enrichment, this is something that we have observed since we took them in. So as you can see, we've got keepers over here that are distracting them both. And then Vic and Danielle are going to go in and set them down. And then we will leave the enclosure so that they can enjoy them peacefully. And if you guys can hear, the pack just started a whole howl for you.
Good.
All right, Kiska!
Kiska!
Let her chew.
Let her smell.
Kiska!
What do we got here, sweetie?
So Kiska and Zeeby came to us together from a facility in New York in the Adirondacks. You can see Zeeby here. He is an 8-year-old, or sorry, yeah, no? 13-year-old male. He just turned 13, I think, and he is still blowing his coat, so you can see all those tufts of fur coming off of him. At most, if he lets someone pet him, it's usually he'll let us pet like his chin or his cheeks, so he has not allowed us to pluck him or anything like that. There is often no brushing with most of these animals, but sometimes they'll let us pluck them, and he has not allowed that, so he's looking a little ragged. Kiska's looking a lot better. She has already blown out most of her coat, so she looks nice and sleek and thin. And a very interesting thing about wolves in the wild is that oftentimes when you see photos of them online, what you're seeing is them in their winter coats, because it makes them look a lot fluffier, larger, more majestic, more threatening, like whatever it is that people are going for in this imagery. But when you see them in their summer coats, they look completely different, and it really shows off that these animals are actually not as large or broad or muscular as many people think. They're actually very tall, sleek, and lean animals. So Zeeby here, he's still very representative of what the winter coat looks like. And if and when Kiska ever comes over to see her watermelon, you'll see kind of what that summer coat looks like and how different it makes them appear.
What's this? What's this?
Kiska!
Kiska! Look!
There we go. Oh my goodness, what is that?
Walk right past it.
What are you doing?
Turn around.
Hi. Go see it.
Use your nose. No, I'm confused.
So people often ask us, you know, like if we let all these animals out into the wild, you know, would they be able to survive? Would they be able to hunt? The answer is not a resounding anything because it's actually a complicated answer, but Kiska can't even hunt a watermelon. So I would say that for the most part, these animals, on a serious note, are taught how to hunt by their parents in the wild. So when we have animals like this that live in captivity or were born and bred in captivity, no one has ever taught them how to hunt. Now, do they have some natural instincts on these things? Yes, of course. But if you're not taught how to properly hunt, your likelihood of success is much worse than it would normally be. And normally, wolves' success rate on hunting is about 1 in 10. So they're already terrible hunters even when they are working with a pack to help them, and even when they've been taught by their parents, and even when they're going after the sick, the weak, and the injured, which should be the easiest animals to hunt and kill, they're still terrible hunters. So if we were to let our animals out into the wild who have been born and living in captivity their whole lives, the likelihood of them surviving for a significant amount of time is very, very slim. Are you gonna get it?
She's like, I don't know what that is.
It's a treat. Man, this is so anticlimactic, you guys.
Because she didn't see us.
There you go. Get that. What is it? And a big thank you to Ginny for donating towards Kiska's watermelon enrichment here. Kiska and Zeeby, because they have come from another facility, they are really, really popular. A lot of people did follow their journey from New York all the way here to New Mexico, so we're super grateful for the people that stay tuned on their stories and how they're doing, and who have chosen to sponsor them or support their enrichment. And that goes for all of our rescues. We would not be able to do the work that we do here without all of your support, whether that's following us on social media, commenting and sharing on these videos, acting as animal sponsors, visiting us in person, donating. Everything that you guys do for us makes it possible for us to continue to rescue wolves, wolf dogs, and other wild canine species in need throughout the entire country. Last year we had a total of 393 requests for intake. This year we are already creeping up close to 200, and we are only about halfway through the year. So again, we are so grateful for the support of every single person who interacts with our content, visits us, supports our facility financially, or just sends us love and care. The work that we do here is so important to all of us, but it can be really taxing at times, and you guys help make every moment worth it. We are super grateful for everyone who was able to join us today. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we will do our best to respond to all of the comments and questions after the video goes out. And we will be following up with more photos and videos of other animals not on our tour path later today or later in the week. So please feel free to stay tuned for those, especially if you were someone who donated for the Summer Coolers Enrichment event. We will be trying to get photos and videos of those animals specifically, but also every single member of our pack will get their own watermelons. So fear not, everyone gets spoiled regardless. Our next event that will be coming up for an enrichment live stream will be our pumpkin event in October. So if you would like to make a donation for a pumpkin for any of our rescues, you can check out our website and make those donations there. We will do a special call out for you, and just like with this event, try to get photos and videos of all of the animals. Oh yes, what a lovely ladylike behavior. So Kiska was marking her watermelon straws. I guess those are super special. She doesn't want Zeeby to touch them, so she's letting him know that those are hers unless he wants to brave her urine, which is unlikely. But with that, these are our last two rescues on the tour path, so I will be signing off. But again, a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in today and for all of your support. We look forward to having you guys for another enrichment event in October, and please feel free to ask questions, share comments, or share this video in general so people that couldn't make it to the live stream can watch it later on today. All right, guys, that is all. Thank you so much and have a fantastic Friday.